What's up, everybody? Last week when I put out my loadout video, I mentioned that I was going to put out a perk video. Well, that's this video. I meant to get it out, within a couple days, max a week after that. But I just started a new job, so I've been really busy. And so that's this video. I know it's been more than a week, but let's go ahead and get into the perks. As you know, there was some perk buffs recently by Raven. I'll link the patch notes down below so you can check out what they actually said themselves. But it's kind of shifted the perk meta, and there's still some perks that you will not run, but I think the perk meta is more open than it ever has been. So let's kind of go through what perks. First, I'm just going to eliminate perks. Perks you don't need to worry about, perks you're not really going to run. And then after that, I'll go ahead and say, you should be running these perks kind of based off how you play, and I'll kind of talk about the perks that are useful. So let's go ahead and jump over to the loadout screen, and we'll start talking perks. Okay, and so like I said, let's knock out the perks you're not really going to use. We're not going to use Kill Chain. It increases your chance of finding kill streaks in supply boxes. I already find a decent amount of kill streaks, especially playing Rebirth. There's already a bunch of kill streaks all over the map. Plus, you can buy them. There's a fire sale every round in Rebirth, and it's not hard to find enough money or complete some contracts on either map to be able to buy kill streaks. So we're not going to waste a perk slot on that. Scavenger, resupply extra ammo and plates. There's ammo resupplies across both maps, as well as being able to buy munitions boxes. They added plates like it says in here. You pick up plates off people, you can buy plates. So you can buy all that, find ammo depots, loot bodies. We're not going to waste a perk on Scavenger. Perk 2, Overkill, I still think is the main to go, but we're not going to run Hardline. 25% off kiosk price for kill streaks, field upgrades, and armor plates. That's nice. But like I said, just find more money, do some more contracts. You can easily afford kill streaks when you need them. And then Point Man, not useful. All members of your team earn more money from completed missions. Maybe if you play Plunder, you do get more XP. So if you're trying to level up weapons, maybe. But just day-to-day Warzone play, not useful. And then Perk 3, Tune Up, reduce charge time of field upgrades by 40%. Reduce revive time by 25%. I mean, if you have to rely on 25% more revive time, you're probably not reviving in a good situation. So that's kind of a waste. We don't get charged field upgrades other than Plunder, and perks on is important. Shrapnel spawn with extra piece of lethal equipment. Just buy a munitions box, loot it off a body, loot it out of a box, loot it off the ground. Not worth it. Engineer, detect enemy equipment, field upgrades, kill streaks through the wall. Mark for your team by aiming down sights, hack enemy equipment, and field upgrades. In Verdansk, this was a little more useful because there was rooftop campers that would put claymores, proxies. There's a little bit less of that in Caldera and a lot less of that in Rebirth, so it's not really that useful. And those two are the ones I'd really rule out. So let's go ahead and look at the perks that we would use. Double time and EOD were the meta for the longest time in Warzone. Still very good. Double time, it just makes you tack sprint longer, so you have to slide cancel less. Good, not great. Increased crouch movement speed by 30%. Decent, but this is still a perk that's worth using if you're moving around a lot and you don't want to have to slide cancel constantly, but not that great. EOD got a huge buff in the recent update on perks. EOD is very good, especially because they buffed the throwables in Warzone at the beginning of Season 2. So that's a really useful perk. Cold-Blooded, between restock with snapshot grenades, which we'll get into, and Combat Scout. Cold-Blooded can be really useful. I know it's one of the main perks being ran in this perk slot. And Quick Fix got a huge buff. Got a huge buff at the beginning of at the Season 2 Reloaded update when they updated perks. And so now you get health once you start plating, and the health regen is, I believe, quicker. I'd have to look again. But so that's a really good perk. If you're playing aggressively on Rebirth, Quick Fix is huge when you're pushing into whole teams and buildings, especially because there's so much building play and a little less finesse. I think it's good on Caldera for playing aggressive, but usually Caldera, your fights are a little more distanced. And so it's not as useful, but on Rebirth, where there's a lot of building pushes or a lot of roofs with sight lines that aren't that far away, Quick Fix I think can be very good, especially if you're playing really aggressive. Otherwise, consider Cold-Blooded no matter which map you're playing because of Combat Scout. If you want to be able to move around without Combat Scout being able to ping you or snapshot grenades being able to find you in buildings, Cold-Blooded is good for both camping and aggressive play styles. EOD, same thing. Kind of works well for both kind of play styles, really. It works really well for aggressive playstyles because you might push into some campers with some rockets, especially on Rebirth. I noticed there's a lot of rockets on Rebirth. So it's really useful for that. Double time, like I said, it's just really good if you move around a lot and you don't have to slide cancel a lot. I personally would run either Cold-Blooded, Quick Fix if you really don't like either of those. EOD. Quick Fix I've been running because I've been playing Rebirth pretty much only, so it's not really as useful. But otherwise, Cold-Blooded for the Combat Scout and Snapshot Grenades. Snapshot Grenades with Restock become the meta. You'll see me on Cold-Blooded. But I'm saying either Cold-Blooded or Quick Fix because double time, just slide cancel twice, your attack sprint's reset. Then for Perk 2, this is definitely more expansive. I think for aggressive players, either restock to get stims, flashes, stuns, or snapshot grenades for pushing buildings. Definitely really good. Don't run gas grenades, by the way. You just hurt yourself with them, and you can't push people. But restock, if you're playing aggressive, definitely really good. Like I said, you can get snapshots, so you can throw them into buildings, and the players that aren't cold-blooded, you'll see where they're at. Obviously, we know how overpowered stuns and flashes are. And then stims, if you're really aggressive, you push in, you want to boost that movement, you want to push away and heal quickly when you push into that rat team. Really good. Tempered, another really good aggressive perk, especially when you mix it with Quick Fix, because now not only does the plating heal you, you only need 2 plates, you're full health, full plate. I think it works well on both maps. I have seen it more recently, and the really aggressive, really good streamers, they've been running Tempered more lately, especially after the Ghost nerf. So Tempered's another really good one, even depending on how your playstyle. I think it's less useful if you're camping, because if you're a camper, someone's going to push into that building, and you're going to end up, killing them, hopefully. If you're camping, you should win that fight. And then nobody's there. You can take your time. You can do 3 plates. So, it kind of really only is good for aggressive players. Same thing with restock. I mean, even if you're a campy player and you like claymores, prox mines, restock's not really that useful because you can only have 2 on the map at a time. And once you've thrown that 2, it doesn't matter when they restock necessarily. And then Overkill. Obviously, Overkill is only good for that first loadout to get both your weapons. But depending on how you feel about Diamati's, the automatic 1911, some of the other secondaries you could run like launchers, even though I don't condone it, Overkill might not be your first choice. You might get a loadout both with Tempered or both with Restock or Ghost or High Alert, and skip Overkill altogether depending on the choices you like to make in your loadouts. Obviously, there's not much to say about Overkill. High Alert, I think High Alert's really good in solos. I know that's Iceman Isaac's go-to perk 2 in solos, even though he might be on the restock snapshot grind now. But High Alert's really good for 2 things. If you're sniping, no matter what you're on top of building, another sniper looks at you, you'll see it. If someone pushes up and you don't get the audio because this is Warzone, you'll know somebody's behind you with High Alert. And then for solos, just because you don't have anybody to look in different directions and calm to you, you don't have people to revive you, so if you don't have a self, you're dead. Even if you have a self and they push you down, you're probably dead. So just for awareness, since you don't have teammates to calm to you, High Alert's good. And then, like I said, for sniping, if someone comes up behind you, you don't get audio. Or just for other people looking at you, especially other snipers. Ghost, I think Ghost, now I know Ghost is only good for the aggressive players. And even then, the aggressive players didn't really rely on Ghost because they weren't hiding in buildings. If you're a camper, it's now not worth it because you have to be moving. So if you're camping, I would really recommend I would probably recommend High Alert, maybe Ghost for the times you do have to move. But if you're camping, just don't camp. Maybe Tempered, just because you're not going to be looting plates. If you're aggressive, go with Restock, Tempered. If you're a sniper, go with High Alert. If you're playing solos, go with High Alert. If you're an aggressive sniper, you can also obviously run Tempered and Restock. And Ghost is good for aggressive players too, because you're going to be moving constantly and you'll be off the map. I'm really personally probably running Tempered if I pick up a second loadout, which I usually don't do on Rebirth. I usually save that loadout to come back. So a really good aggressive setup would be Quick Fix and Tempered for the perks we've gone over so far. If you're more of a camper, probably Cold-Blooded. You can't get hit by snapshots. You don't get hit by Combat Scout or EOD. And then probably Tempered, just because there's nothing really better. If you're camping, you're not going to be moving, so Ghost doesn't help you. So if you're a camper, go either Cold-Blooded or EOD, combined with either probably High Alert or Tempered. Ghost is really kind of getting phased out of the meta, unless you're kind of an in-between player, you're on the move, but you also will sit in certain places. And that leads us to Perk 3. Amped is still huge. I've been trying to run Combat Scout, but I keep finding myself in situations where I'm being really aggressive, and I wish I had Amped. just getting caught off guard, especially on Rebirth, people in Windows, whatever it is, and I really wish I had amped. Combat Scout's obviously overpowered, and so, you know, it pings where people are. It shows the full, like, snapshot highlight for a second, and then for, like, 3 seconds, I think it is, you have the red diamond over your head. So it's really easy to track people. If you really want to be toxic, like I said in my loadout video, run restock snapshots and one of the LMGs or one of the Vanguard guns with FMJ, and you can hit that snapshot, see where people are, and keep pinging them while you're shooting them and penetrating more than you'd normally be able to with the FMJ bullets, and it can get really toxic. Battle Hardened is another decent consideration. I probably wouldn't put it over Combat Scout or Amped, but it's a really decent consideration for the aggressive players. With the buff on restock and people getting snapshot, no, sorry, not snapshots, with people getting stuns, flashes, and gas grenades if they run them. Oh, I actually thought Cold-Blooded, by the way, helped you with snapshots. No, it's Battle Hardened. So yeah, with the buff on restock and flashes, stuns, gas grenades, and snapshot grenades being able to come every 25 seconds, Battle Hardened has moved up in the tier list. I probably still wouldn't put it over Combat Scout and Amped, but if you're running in a Rebirth and you like pushing teams that rat out, it's a really good perk to use in that case. And if you are someone who's campy, it's really good to use for when people try to push you and you're sitting in a building. I mean, then Tracker's the worst of the 4 that you could run, but if you're chasing people, and because the audio is poor in this game and you have a hard time keeping track of people, Tracker's good for that because you get to see the footsteps. Or if you push into a building and someone did just before and you didn't know, you do see the footsteps. But I probably wouldn't put it over Combat Scout or Amped, and I wouldn't put it over Battle Hardened either. And so if you're aggressive, I would definitely consider running Combat Scout or Amped over both Battle Hardened or Tracker. If you're campy, I would probably consider Battle Hardened. So if you're sitting in a building, it's you're not as affected by flashes, stuns, and snapshot grenades. And so when a team's pushing you and they got restock and they're spamming you with their tacticals, it doesn't affect you as much and you have a better chance. Tracker, I would really only run it if you're really struggling with the audio or you really have a hard time finding people, but it is viable within Warzone. I'm either switching back and forth between Combat Scout and Amped. As an aggressive player, if you shoot a lot, Combat Scout's definitely really good. If you're on the move a lot and you feel like you get caught with the wrong gun a lot, Amp's definitely the move. I'm kind of in between both of those and kind of deciding. So if you're camping, I would probably, if you're kind of campy or even just in between, I would probably recommend Cold-Blooded to combat High Alert and Combat Scout, or EOD to combat if people spam Semtexes, frags, thermites into where you're camping. But I'd probably go Cold-Blooded off of both of those. If I'm campy, I probably am going to go with High Alert just so I know when I'm being looked at in a window. And then probably Battle Hardened. You're not going to get caught with the wrong weapon with Amped. You're not going to be shooting at people through walls while you push a building if you're campy. So if you're campy, I would honestly probably run Cold-Blooded, High Alert, and Battle Hardened. If you're aggressive, on Rebirth Island, definitely, I would go probably Quick Fix, Tempered, and Combat Scout or Amped. Maybe Combat Scout. You could also consider Double Time, but Cold-Blooded, if you're playing aggressively on Caldera, I would probably go Cold-Blooded. There's a lot of that foliage, so a lot of people run Combat Scout. It's very useful. On Caldera, I would really consider High Alert. Sorry, that was my work email. I would really consider High Alert or Tempered on Caldera, and then definitely Combat Scout. You're not going to be caught in as many situations with the wrong gun because you're usually more distanced. There's a lot more, at least visible cover throughout the map on Caldera. So if you're running aggressively on Caldera, I'd probably run this setup. Like I said, I mostly play Rebirth, so this would probably be my overall setup on second loadout, or if I wanted to run Diamati's automatic 1911s or some other crazy secondary like a launcher. But that's it. Those are really the perks. That's kind of all gone through all of the perks, all of the setups. I appreciate watching any amount of time, whether you skip through, watch the whole thing. I appreciate it all. I appreciate any interaction, so please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more. Tell me down below what perks you're running, what perks you think I should have recommended, what I'm wrong about, where I'm right. Let me know down below your thoughts. As usual, like I mentioned, I will have those patch notes linked down below as well as all my social medias. So please feel free to visit those, and I will see you on Rebirth and Caldera. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.